Well, I had hoped to make this video earlier this morning, but well, I fell back asleep after getting a message from Bering. And so I left work as quick as I could to get home and just get the word out. It's not the end of civilization, but Bering is under attack. He's being targeted for termination by the usual suspects, and it looks like they've gotten his Twitter taken down at Tis Bering. And I want to go through a little bit of what was going on and then give you an alternate way to follow him until he gets this worked out. I talked to him a little bit this morning. He said he thinks that his Twitter will probably be gone for good. I don't think he cares that much, but it is kind of a pain in the ass because for some of our creators, it's a quick, easy way for us to interact with all of you. So I guess, as usual, Bering had been memeing on the usual suspects like Music Man Mike and all sorts of stuff like that, and of course Fisty Splinters. And this time, as per usual, we had a lot of butthurt, and it started out with Music Man Mike. From what I can understand it here, let's go to the footage. And all this is in reaction that he's from New Zealand, blah, 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 blah. And then he says, as for hating white men, they don't, and I'm not a man. So I'm good either way. Which, of course, Bering replies, congrats on the gender transition, Mikey. BTW, you might want to consider changing your Twitter handle to avoid confusion. That's not even like that. That's not even that intense, I don't think. So to which he replies back, you might want to fuck off and die. That escalated quickly. Certainly that's something that by their own standards is some sort of threat. To which, of course, Bering couldn't resist. To get on him a little bit more, saying he's a grumpy girl. Then we see Christy Winters as, of course, demanding people report this tweet. Please report this tweet, not only because it's lies and slander, but because it's another example of Bering's homophobia and ableism. What? And honestly, if he legitimately said, I'm not a man, what Bering says, if we are to believe good old Music Man Mikey here, he's telling the truth. So it is, in fact, Christy Winters who is lying. And then we see, of course, Christy lying about here, doing what she does, lies, and then pretends to be the victim when, she's like Nelson in that episode of The Simpsons where he keeps kicking the hornet's nest and then he's wondering why he gets stung. Well, duh. And here we have Mike, of course, saying that he, in fact, did.
Like I say, I just recently, I reported some of Bering's tweets in which he was misgendering me. He was, basically being abusive and all that sort of shit.
Right. So Mike admits that he has reported the tweet that has since gotten Bering banned from Twitter. And by the way, I said, the best way to get a hold of him would probably be to follow Sugar Tits. She's probably worth following anyway, as she makes great content. But this is how I was able to get a hold of him. And, I would continue to follow at Tis Bering, of course, in case, he beats this. But it's pretty obvious that here he says he's not a man, and then he says he reported them for misgendering. Well, he's only using the standards that Mike set forward. And, a lot of people will give me shit, and that's okay, that I'm a little too, Bering is a big boy. He doesn't need me to stick up for him. He's got 500,000 subscribers. But, I'm a relatively a small channel. But it's growing because of all of you, and I would for Bering's sake, maybe consider sharing at least the how to get a hold of him. You don't have to share this video. But the crazy thing about Mike is, for someone who so clearly relies on Bering for their little circle jerk streams, I'm not entirely sure why they would want to silence and report him. If you actually do succeed in getting him removed from Twitter, that's one less thing that you can make content about. That's one less thing you can use to garner patrons and super chats, the same way he does to you guys too, right? It's a symbiotic relationship. Your entire existence is relevant because of Bering. I'm sorry if that offends you, but I think the sooner you could just own that and accept that fact, the longer you'll live, the more happier you'll be, and the more complete your life will be.
And then this morning I woke up and found that one of my videos had been community guidelines struck, and it was a video in which I was talking to friends about gun control and things, sensible gun control things that that Americans could do, and so that has been community guidelines struck.
Now wait a minute here, Mikey. Are you actually complaining about receiving a community guideline strike on one of your videos? Something we all know too well will take away your ability to live stream on the platform, but then you're not only seem to be engaging in, but supporting the mass flagging of another content creator, at least of his tweets. And one could assume that if this is your attitude about tweets, then I don't think it's that far of a reach to assume you feel the same way about YouTube videos. Do you also, Mikey, condone flagging of YouTube videos? And to make things worse, the reason your video was flagged is obvious. One didn't have anything to do with Bering in any way.
Because Bering fans had a hissy fit.
Hang on, people have been getting community guideline strikes left, right and centre recently. How do you know it was caused by people from my audience?
Which is hilarious, because it's as if they don't actually care about free speech. I mean, Bering goes on and on about don't deplatform people and free speech and don't punch people you don't agree with, and you're just as bad as the Nazis because you want to punch Nazis. And then he allows this kind of thing to happen.
I allow this kind of thing to happen because I didn't do a good enough job of babysitting 82,000 people. What an idiot.
It's as if he doesn't actually care about free speech or political violence or abuse or anything. He just is a hypocritical sack of shit. It's really funny.
I suppose there will always be conventions that didn't invite you all to speak, and ones and that you never intended on going to for you to spurg out about for many hours. But I don't understand why you'd want to silence him. And to be totally honest, of course, in my opinion, anyone that engages in this type of flag wars over hurt feelings is really dumb. I don't think Bering would ever do that. He's never instructed his fans to do that, unlike Christy Winters, and apparently at least Mike passively supports. It's dumb to expect someone to control their fans. And Mikey, you've admitted to flagging his tweets when we all know that you're not actually upset about being, quote, misgendered. You're just doing it because to try and get back at Bering because he made fun of you and you didn't like it. Well, why don't you just not engage with him? I don't see Bering making videos about you if you just don't engage with him for 6 months. But the longer you continue to poke the hornet's nest, I'm not going to feel bad when somebody who is supportive of Bering doesn't like what you have to say. He doesn't control his fans. And look, I get it. The back and forth is really good entertainment. And I think if you and Christy and whatever, your whole crew, were really honest with yourselves, you know that you need someone like Bering, someone like Sargon of Akkad to be relevant. Most of your friends, like Steve Shives and Christy Winters, are part of what's basically a dead meme, the atheist movement. Atheism is not exciting anymore. It's not pulling in the views like it used to, and it's been invaded by social justice, and that's a big part of it. And so without villains like Bering or Sargon for you, you don't have anything unique or interesting to say. You don't have anything to tell your patrons why they need to support you. And for someone to get as offended at the notion that they hypothetically had a sex change, Mikey, okay, if you're clearly a man, as you say, how come you're acting like such a pussy? I don't understand. I mean, what do you hope to gain here? Look, I know you have a pretty high opinion of yourself, Mikey. You view yourself as the purifier, the terminator of the internet, of the mean people on the internet. And I respect you for that. In fact, I almost didn't want to release this early footage of you, the Terminator, showing basically losers like me how to pick up women. But I think the world has a lot to learn from you, so I wish you the best.
Whoa! The Terminator detects serious heat at a distance of 2 meters. Preparing to deploy bear.
Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to be notified the next time I upload a video, make sure you subscribe and take a moment to turn on notifications. If you want to support the cause of this channel, it survives because of the amazing generosity of those that choose to back me on Maker Support. The link is in the description, and hopefully you'll consider backing today.